severe wind threat goes down, but I do think our flood threat is going to be an ongoing experience here for the next several hours. Our thunderstorm watch officially goes until 4 a.m.
Yeah, and look, one thing too, Allie, and all night we've been throwing out numbers, 60, 70, 80, 90 miles per hour. I was just taking a quick scroll through our Facebook messages, and they're filled with tree damage, trees down, branches down, power outages. So just from an impact standpoint, lots of wind-related impacts across the DFW Metroplex. So we're likely talking lots of power outages. I don't have an exact figure.
We'll get an update on some of those numbers in a moment.
Yeah.
I know Blake will have an update for us here coming up, but yeah, we're talking tens of thousands of folks across North Texas probably without power at this point.
Yeah, and once again too, and then the flooding too, and one thing that really stuck out to me with Amelia's video, I mean, you could see the current with that water. So we really stressed everybody, we're talking power outages, likely lots of branches and trees down across the area, power lines. You don't want to run over those with your car either. That can cause a lot of problems. So I would stay in tonight. I would just stay in, let things clear up, and tomorrow with daylight, and let the authorities take care of those down branches and power lines, because that can cause a lot of problems as well.
Yeah, let's just do some storm tracks across the leading edge of all of this to give our folks in our south and eastern zones a better idea of when this is moving in their area. So some of this is moving 30, some moving 40 miles an hour, but we're just going to kind of estimate for you to give you some idea here. So Tyler, it's coming into Tyler now, basically. Hillsborough in about 20 minutes. Marshall, 1242. Belmead, 1253. Hillsborough, I mentioned here, in about 20 minutes, some of that stronger wind for you. So obviously we can't mention every single town, every single city that we have, but I'd say far northern Hill County, northern Navarro, Henderson County, this is now starting to move in. So we're already seeing the heavier stuff move through Rice, as well as Gun Barrel City, Waxahachie, getting the heavier downpours and those stronger winds. And there's another update. Kearns, 1208. Corsicana, 1220. We mentioned Hillsborough already, and then heading into the town of West by 1237 and Elm Mott by 1248. So once we get to 1 a.m., the leading edge of this is approaching our far southern counties. You're still going to have heavy rain back behind it, so you may have a lower severe wind threat, but your heavy rain, your flood threat is going to continue with all of this, and it really does extend through Van Zant, Kaufman counties, and points east into East Texas. Still some very heavy pockets of rain coming out of this, along with the hundreds to thousands of lightning strikes happening every 5 minutes. So we're likely to see an ongoing power outage concern, even if the wind starts to come down a little bit for some of these areas. And the wind, yes, it is still there, obviously, as we look at our velocities, but more likely than not, we're talking most of this is 60 to 65 mile an hour wind gusts moving through areas like Gun Barrel City and Canton, let's say, but the stronger stuff remains just off to the west. What we're seeing in Johnson County, pushing into Ellis and far northern parts of Hill County. I think that's where some of those stronger winds are really going to start taking over. And general motion with all of this is to the south and east, and will continue to do so. But look at all that rain back behind it. That's what concerns me, and we're likely to see more flash flood warnings, or at least get some more extended time frames here. So for several hours, I think flooding is going to be a huge issue for parts of the Metroplex, and then even a few of our northeastern counties. You may not have the flash flood warnings now, but low-lying areas, for sure there's flooding in a lot of these spots. So we don't want you to go out and check things. We don't want you trying to drive in any of this just yet. You really want to wait till everything quiets down completely and wait till the daylight hours tomorrow morning with this. So these severe thunderstorm warnings are these yellow polygons we're seeing. They continue to shift to the south and east as this strong line does, with the heavy rain and wind threat continuing to be our biggest concerns. Hail is no longer a threat with this stuff. Tornado threat is low. It's not zero because we could still have a brief spin up along the leading edge of this line. But I'll tell you, this is generally a damaging wind and flood threat now as we go through the late night hours. And we still have our thunderstorm watch officially in effect until 4 a.m. So 4 more hours. And that's just to account for our far southern and southeastern counties and parts of central Texas, because it's just taking that much longer for the activity to get through there. Anything new from the chat, Dylan?
Yeah, so nothing new, at least as far as additional warnings or anything like that. But once again, just going through our Facebook messages, and I'm sure our email as well, just flooded with reports of trees down, branches broken, power outages. So as we've been saying throughout the weekend, honestly, since Friday, we've been beating the drum that we could have a significant wind risk tonight. That did verify this was a very well forecasted event, and we're seeing those impacts now with trees down, branches down, power outages, and also flooding too. This area has gotten a lot of rain over the past couple of weeks, so you see that flash flooding around. Either way, very dangerous conditions out there. I would not chance it tonight. We're likely talking about areas without power, so it's dark, probably flooded as well, so you don't want to be out and about. I would not risk it one bit. And there's still plenty of rain. Now, while it's not as heavy as the immediate line, there's a large pocket of moderate rain behind this line. So that will only exacerbate any flash flooding that is ongoing, at least for the next several hours or so.
Okay, we're going to quickly show Amelia's shot again because that water is rushing. I'm pretty sure they're still in that area of Dallas, in the Turtle Creek area. That
is dangerous.
It's extremely dangerous. Not something you want to drive through, and we're going to see a lot of areas, unfortunately. Typical flooded areas are going to look like this as the night goes on. Very scary there. I want to bring back Blake Hansen in too, if we can get his mic up, because he has some updates on the power outages, and I'd be interested to see what Johnson and Tarrant County are like now compared to what they were a half hour ago, Blake.
Yeah, Johnson, frankly, isn't super high. About 700 customers without power right now in Johnson County. Let me check out Tarrant. Tarrant is up 16,000 now in Tarrant County without. Dallas also continues to climb now, nearing 27,000 customers without power. Let's take a look at a couple of the other ones in our area. Collins stayed pretty steady around 4,000 at this point in time. Parker, we obviously saw some strong winds out there. 3,800 in Parker without power. Rockwall County too, 5,200 without power. But yeah, we're still continuing to see those numbers go up. And remember, we hear this time and time again from Encore, they can't get out to start restoring the power until these storms move out of the area. And you're still seeing tons of lightning. So that's obviously just going to delay their ability to start making the.
Yeah, it may take 4 or 5 hours before they really start working on those power outages, quite honestly, with the amount of lightning that is still in the vicinity, even back behind the leading edge of these storms. So we still have folks driving. Some of our chasers remain out on the roads, still tracking everything for us. I will say that while intensity has come down in a lot of areas, it doesn't mean your flash flood threat is over. We saw Amelia's shot earlier, and it is still. It's still raining heavy, and the water is just absolutely just rushing. So that could easily pick up a large car at this point. It looks like they're backing up again. Very loud night for sure across much of North Texas, with the thousands of lightning strikes still ongoing. every 5 minutes. Power outages, as Blake mentioned, have practically doubled in Tarrant County from a half hour ago with those strong winds moving through. Not surprised there. And our severe storm threat continues to shift to the south and east, impacting areas now south of I-20 as these storms are heading towards areas like Hillsborough, Corsicana, and Athens. The winds starting to really pick up in those areas along with that heavy rain threat. Probably the heaviest stuff we're still seeing is moving out of Johnson into Ellis and Northern Hill County. I'd say those are some of the stronger radar returns we currently have through areas like Venus, approaching Midlothian, Waxahachie, Italy, all along 35E. This is going to start to increase very quickly, and all of this is kind of shifting and merging here. So what we had moving from north to south, and then what we had going from west to east is now kind of merging, and all of this rain, this wind is impacting just a few of these towns in western parts of Ellis and northern sections of Hill County. Anything new from the National Weather Service, Dylan?
Yeah, so some good news, and honestly, they could have done this a while ago, but they have trimmed a large portion of that severe thunderstorm watch. So no surprises.
Not surprised.
Yeah, behind that line, the atmosphere is worked over.
Are you able to put that up just so that we could show folks, so folks that maybe want to get to bed? There we go. Okay, so a lot of the counties we talked about, Dallas and Tarrant still technically in it because we still have some severe wind gust potential for probably the next hour. But most of us north of I-20 are now out of the thunderstorm watch. It's still raining. I think you still have at least a minor flood threat in a lot of those areas, but your severe threat has come down dramatically. Good for you. South of I-20, you still have the thunderstorm watch until 4 a.m. Parts of central Texas, that includes you too. So good news. That is great, and we're hoping to see more counties get out of this in the next hour or so. I'd say probably Dallas and Tarrant will be able to get out of this watch by 1 a.m., maybe a little after 1 a.m. The flood threat, however, that's really not going anywhere. Okay, let's get back to radar. Can we do some velocity here and kind of go county by county just to see where some of those stronger winds are, see what we got? It really is Hill and Ellis now, I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, and that, no surprise, you called it a minute ago, just to where the strongest returns are. Let's just see what the radar is picking up on there. Yeah, 66. I mean, that's par for the course.
Yeah, I mean, if we can keep them under 70, I think we're doing pretty good, because it's been a rough night for a lot of folks with those winds over 70 miles an hour. So 60 to 70, we'll call it 60 to 70 for Northern Hill and Ellis County right now, from Maypearl to Italy down towards Carl's Corner. Hillsborough, eventually Mertens, Blooming Grove will be another spot we'll have to watch as this moves east-southeast at about 30 to maybe 40 miles an hour. Definitely not as strong the wind in Ellis and Waxahachie, or Ennis rather, excuse me, and Waxahachie at this point, maybe 50 to 60, but still pretty intense, very heavy rain, tons of lightning, specifically here for seeing some of those stronger winds around Italy. And then off to the east, Gun Barrel City to Eustis, Toole. Yeah, it's raining, heavy winds. I wouldn't say anything too wild. I mean, I know it probably feels a whole lot worse if you're under it, of course, but we still have some stronger winds. Maybe some gusts to 60, I think, in this part of North Texas. Not as intense as what we've got back to the west. So Ellis, Johnson, and Northern Hill, that's where some of those stronger winds are currently residing, and this will keep shifting to the east and southeast. It just a lot of water coming down, tons of lightning. These are not as intense as they were an hour ago, 2 hours ago, which is great, but we still have that damaging wind threat. That is really not going to change here as these move south and east. So we are going to continue to follow this and track everything for you as the night goes on, because 60 to 70 can still produce some serious damage. And the lightning as well can cause fires. We can see more power outages for these folks folks too. So the severe threat is ongoing for our south and eastern counties here for the next several hours, with that thunderstorm watch going until technically until 4 a.m. unless they start taking out a few more counties. Things that are kind of quiet from the National Weather Service, that not necessarily a bad thing. I think we'll take it.
Yeah, they're just they're just mentioning deactivating. We have emergency managers deactivating some of the emergency things they have to do in certain counties. So the northern half of the area, the severe threat has winded down for the night. Just moderate rain causing more flooding problems, especially in the Metroplex. But I would generally say that any threat for severe weather will generally be for our southeastern counties for the next couple of hours, though at least for right now, we're not seeing anything too, at least bow echo-ish. Yeah. Maybe they're near Waxahachie, and then
Itasca, maybe.
Yeah, that's a little notch there near Itasca. I'll pull up the velocities and just see if we're getting anything here at the moment. So let's see. Pull that up there. Yeah, I mean, there's some serious wind. There's no doubt.
Yeah, a lot of wind, but definitely not as strong as this once was.
Yeah.
60 to 65. Okay, so I mean, it's still severe wind. Severe wind is severe wind, but we don't, I mean, this portion of the line was producing 80 miles an hour at times. So still severe wind here, traveling along 35W, around Itasca, that's Highway 81 as well, and then up towards Maypearl, towards Waxahachie. We for sure have 60 to 65 ongoing there as well. Do we have severe thunderstorm warnings currently for Dallas and Tarrant? I don't think.
They've canceled.
They let them go. Okay, yeah. So our severe thunderstorm warnings continue for eastern Johnson, a large portion, pretty much all of Ellis, southern Kaufman, northern sections of Navarro, northwestern parts of Henderson, and a good portion of Hill. Even Van Zant is no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning. So just a couple of severe storm warnings at this point. This is probably the lowest number we've had in hours. So that, of course, is a good thing. The strongest winds, I think, with some of these, we're talking 60 to 65, and then maybe 65 to 70 for western parts of Ellis and northern parts of Hill County, where we've seen some of those notches. Thousands of lightning strikes, that's still ongoing. Haven't seen really a change with any of that. And all of this continues to shift to the south and east as the night progresses here, with flood concerns continuing across much of the Metroplex for the next several hours. Anything new?
Yeah, they've been pretty quiet on the chat for the past few minutes or so. So at least with the warnings canceled in the Metroplex, that at least the severe part of this event is winding down for the Metroplex, though the flood threat will continue for at least the next several hours. Yeah,
let's do like a round robin of some of our chasers and whoever's out on the roads. Kind of let me know who we've got, and let's just kind of see what they're experiencing, so we can like kind of see. This is Beltline. 67. 67, okay, just slow go, not many cars on the roads there. So not too bad there. Here's another shot. Yeah, this is what we're going to see on a lot of our roadways. Okay, so one of our photographers is in Arlington right now, so that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's raining, it's coming down, but no longer severe. So great, that's good. And the roads don't look too bad there. That is really nice to see. Here's another shot. Okay, so this is Aaron Estman. Remember, he was in Weatherford earlier when those 80-mile-an-hour winds were coming through, so he's probably heading back into the Metroplex.
Looks like he's in Fort Worth now,
He's in Fort Worth now. Okay, so no longer severe, still raining, but nowhere near as intense as it was an hour ago. So a lot of our folks kind of winding down for the night as the severe threat has lessened ever so slightly. It's still there. We still have 60 to 65-mile-an-hour gusts, but that's what we consider a low-end severe thunderstorm threat. We no longer are seeing those 80, 90-mile-an-hour winds, and I don't think we're going to. Maybe one or two spots get to 70-mile-an-hour gusts, but I have a feeling we're likely going to stay in that 60 to 65-mile-an-hour range for a lot of this, which I think most of us would take. Of course, you don't want any severe weather because it could cause damage, but compared to what these storms were an hour ago, they are trending slowly in the right direction with just a wall of water moving through Ellis County at this point. It can't be pleasant trying to drive on 35E or along 45. The wind, that stronger wind, is over Italy right now. Okay, well, there's a really strong wind gust. So we're probably still getting some really nasty winds, southern parts of Ellis and then central parts of Hill County, too, near Carl's Corner. That may be another area near Hillsborough as well. So we still have this one section of this line that's producing these really strong storms from around Italy down towards Hillsborough, with the 60 to 65-mile-an-hour winds likely everywhere else. Dylan's doing another storm track for us.
Yeah, and by the way, Allie, they mentioned that there's likely 70-plus mile-per-hour winds
in that area.
Yeah, from Ellis and then down to Hill County.
Okay.
So you can see it kind of going out a little bit there.
Yeah, so that is the strongest wind potential. What we're seeing east of that through northern Navarro, northern parts of Henderson, not as intense. So it's this one pocket. And again, this was the area, this was the storm section that moved through Palo Pinto, Parker County, produced 80-plus mile-an-hour winds. So it's still strong. It's the strongest we've got ongoing right now. So 70 is still possible from Hillsborough to Italy, it looks like. And that'll impact areas like Mertens, eventually Blooming Grove. That'll be another area. Corsicana, you already have intense wind and rain, but it may actually pick up as all of this shifts to the south and east. We've got still a large portion of Navarro, parts of Hill County that are not dealing with the severe weather just yet, so we still have some time here. Limestone, Freestone, Anderson, you don't have any warnings currently, but those will get extended southward into your region here soon. I expect probably by 1 a.m. we'll see that severe weather threat shift even more south. Yeah,
and so, I mean, that's good news that, you know, at least for right now in the Metroplex, our severe threat is going down quickly, but still some flooding issues there. But just to kind of piggyback from what Allie was saying, the greatest severe risk going forward tonight is going to be south of Interstate 20 and generally to the east of Interstate 35, so our southeastern zones. This line, you know, the thing about this, too, that was kind of annoying is the line really accelerated. It got to the Metroplex, slowed down. It literally put the brakes on like you're on 635 during rush hour. That's literally what it did today. Exactly. Caused some flooding. Yeah. And now it's speeding back up. So at least this is moving and won't be an all-night type of event, though the flooding will linger long after the wind threat ends for our viewing areas. So, yeah, for sure. So, okay. and with the power outages, and this is another thing, tomorrow morning, there's no way that all of these power outages will be fixed by the morning. So tomorrow morning when you're commuting, it's going to be Monday morning. If you go to an intersection where the lights are out, you have to treat it like a four-way stop sign. You may have to use some extra patience tomorrow morning getting around town wherever those power outages are. So, you know, the lingering effects of this will likely last until tomorrow morning. And once again, do not go anywhere near any downed power lines. It's extremely dangerous. All right, so here's the plan. We are going to continue this coverage until 12:30, wall-to-wall on Fox 4 as well as Fox Local. After 12:30, we're going to switch to cut-ins and stay specifically on Fox Local. Facebook Live is ongoing as well with live radar. So what I plan on doing right now is kind of a round robin. We'll do a wide view of all of North Texas, start north, work our way south, and just talk through it together, and then do a one final storm track or maybe a couple final storm tracks for our southern zones. So up along the Red River, light to moderate rain still coming down.
light to moderate. Nothing severe here. You no longer have a severe threat. It is just raining. You could still have some lightning strikes. That's a possibility here from Montague County eastward along 82. It'll be interesting when the National Weather Service does finally go out and survey damage. I expect Bonham to be an area. I expect Whitesboro to be another area. We for sure had at least 90-mile-an-hour winds and a potential tornado in the Bonham area of Fannin County. So those are spots that we're likely to see some damage and some at least updates going forward from the National Weather Service. We head south and still no severe threat here, but rain ongoing through Denton, Collin County, where that flash flood warning continues. I'm surprised we don't have any other flash flood warnings for Hunt and Fannin at this point, because we've had a ton of rain. I mean, when you see the yellows, the oranges, we're talking at least 2 to 3, isolated probably 4 to 5 before all is said and done. So the flooding is really now the threat here from I-20 northward. Still very heavy rain, some lightning strikes in and around the Metroplex, but none of this is severe at this point. We no longer have severe weather from Kaufman County north to Terrell, which is good news there for those folks. And then as we head south of Highway 80, still very heavy rain for Canton and southern parts of Van Zant County, but not severe. So that is also good news there. From Athens to Malakoff, Kearns, Gun Barrel City, 60 to 65-mile-an-hour gusts, severe thunderstorm warning ongoing for you. Excessive lightning, very heavy rain and gusty winds. This will continue for at least a good half hour until that leading edge starts to move to the south. The most intense weather currently is in southwestern Ellis, northern Hill County, where the gusts are still possible up to 70 miles an hour. Much of Ellis County dealing with torrential rain, lightning, and these gusty winds. This is shifting south into Navarro. So Blooming Grove to Rice to Corsicana. Eventually we will see areas like Angus, Eureka, Richland all added in the severe thunderstorm warning. You can see this area from Maypearl to Italy and Mertens, that was also extended south, includes Hubbard, so far southern parts of Hill County. And then we're likely to see that continue to push southward. We head a little bit to the west. Very heavy rainfall, gusty winds in excess of 60, 65 still possible near Lake Whitney. But back behind that, rain and thunderstorms continuing, ongoing, just not severe. I don't think we have much of a severe threat for those that are in the western parts of Johnson County. However, we're still watching thunderstorms out to our west, so we're going to have to keep an eye west of Erath, west of Palo Pinto. Here we go, another severe thunderstorm warning in Eastland. So this is for damaging winds. I will say the winds probably not as strong as what we initially had, so 60 to 65 and some maybe small hail coming out of these in Eastland County, and then still just a ton of rain back to the northwest too, from Graham to Jacksboro towards Bowie, another mention of them, Buffalo Springs area. So if you are north of I-20, rain, flood concerns will continue. If you're south, we're keeping with the severe threat for several more hours, with a flood threat, of course, continuing really for everyone, and whether or not you have that flash flood warning currently in effect. Here's another big view. National Weather Service has been kind of quiet at this point, but we'll continue to see severe thunderstorm warnings get extended south and east as the night goes on, Dylan.
Yeah, and I'll put another tracker. And by the way, they did mention that part of the line that we were looking at that was kind of bowing out in Hill, Navarro, and parts of Ellis, they're warning that now for 80-mile-per-hour
So
winds.
it's gone up. Okay,
Yeah.
Well, let's zoom in there and then put the velocity on and let's look at it.
That's what I'm going to do now. And that's some serious wind. I mean, look, 80-mile-per-hour winds. It's hurricane force winds, so it can cause a lot of problems. And you can see, I mean, the radar
Right over at Hillsboro.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and it's moving much faster too. So it's exited Carl's Corner, east of Hillsboro, moving into Blooming Grove, Frost, Mertens.
I'm not seeing the 80s popping up on radar, but
What about closer to Hillsboro?
yeah, let's go down there. And maybe a little, it's tough to tell, but maybe a little bit of a notch down there too. It's definitely bowing, that's for sure. Let's see. I mean, my guess would be, yeah, there you go.
There it is. Okay, so
Yeah, 80 mile
Hillsboro
per hour
County
winds.
is where those 80-mile-an-hour winds are right now.
Yeah, that's coming right down Interstate 35. So hopefully nobody is on the roads down there right now, because that's going to be very rough to drive through. Down to Cottonwood, West, maybe Hubbard. I mean, this part of the line has a pretty extensive history of producing damaging winds going all the way back to Palo Pinto County. So the Parker, Tarrant, Johnson, and now down into Hill, Navarro.
Yeah,
and,
can you do
Ellis.
a storm track on that for our folks in Southern Hill and parts of Navarro, so we can just give them an idea?
Yeah, and I'll switch it back to the regular radar for a second too. But I mean, there's a ton of lightning. This is definitely the strongest part of that right now. So here's a little bit of a tracker. This will probably go out 30 to 45 minutes or so. Corsicana, I'd keep an eye on this too. This is going to be getting into frost in just a couple of minutes. 12:33. Ennis 12:37. Excuse me. 12:49. Rice. Corsicana getting closer to 12:52, and then Angus right at about 1 o'clock. So there's still some serious wind coming with these storms. Radar picking up on 70 to 80 miles per hour. That is destructive hurricane force winds that can cause power outages, knock down trees, branches, knock down power lines. You do not want to be outside for that. It can sound pretty scary at night. And then let's see, they did add another note in the chat. I'll just read what they said out loud. With a couple of larger severe boxes, both set to expire in a few minutes from Johnson to Henderson, we'll have a larger new severe thunderstorm warning for Navarro, Hill, Limestone, for winds of 70 miles per hour. But the main concern remains to be small pockets of 80 mile per hour winds with that warning in Ellis and western Navarro County. So, Allie, they're kind of doing what we thought they should have done earlier in the night, just issue one big severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah. Just make our lives a lot easier.
Well, it just becomes very cluttered on radar, and it's hard for even us to delineate, let alone the viewer at home. So that makes sense that they're about to do that. So I think we should keep going for a little bit, just as this warning gets reissued, so we can show everybody what it really looks like when they get rid of some of these smaller. Did they? All the other ones already canceled? So that's the big one that we've got.
And it looks like that. Yeah, that smaller polygon within is that leftover for the 80.
Gotcha.
But you can see the larger box. If you're at home, I'll take off the lightning. And if you see that larger box, they just decided to issue one large severe thunderstorm warning. So they should have just issued a big warning for the line the entire night.
At one point, I'd say about half of our counties were all in a warning. Notice though, in Henderson, you're not in most of Henderson. Henderson's not in a warning at all. That is just torrential rain coming in right there. So it is just Navarro, Hill, Southern Hill, and then getting into northern Freestone, Limestone counties, and there's an updated arrival for this. So we could still have some pockets of 80. Most of this is up to 70 miles an hour, and we're going to keep monitoring the situation as we go through the night. This is by far the most intense part of the line. I'd say from about Hillsborough to the east till about Frost is where we've seen some of those higher numbers estimated on radar. All of this shifting south and east. This new warning goes until what time?
Yeah, and I'll get that up for you right now, but I would assume at least until 1 o'clock.
Yeah, probably at least.
30, they usually do it 30. Yeah, so 45 minutes, so 1:15 a.m. they will. Yeah, they'll keep that up. And all of this is moving to the southeast at about 40 miles per hour. And by the way, with this new warning, Allie, they're going with 70. So that's about what we expect. That's better than 80, but
I think at this point, we're going to keep monitoring the situation. We're going to hop back on air in just a bit. We're going to take a break at this point. We're still tracking this lone area of severe weather in our far southern zones. At this point, the most intense weather just south of Hillsborough into Mertens. Severe continues to shift southward. Meanwhile, the flooding concerns remain off to the north, and that'll continue as the night goes on. We can't thank you enough for staying with us throughout this entire event. Dylan, thank you so much for coming in and helping me out, the entire Fox 4 crew, working very hard to keep you forewarned throughout the night. So please stay with us. Head over to the Fox Local app. We still have live radar ongoing there, and we are going to cut back in at 1 a.m. for sure. If something else happens from now until then, we'll be back on as well on air on Fox 4. But otherwise, you can head to Fox Local as well as our Facebook page for more live information. So please stay with Fox 4. We'll keep you forewarned. Thank you all very much.
This has been a Fox 4 Warn Weather Alert. Stay connected at fox4news.com, on the web, Fox 4's free weather app, and live streaming on Fox Local. Thank you for depending on Fox 4.